Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Wednesday morning to you all. Hope you guys are getting up and having a great start to your morning, great start to your day, and a great week out there so far. It's been a pretty active week in the weather world with these severe storms, flooding, intense heat ongoing, and today will be another day just like that. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to break down, try to figure out what's going to unfold today. Certain areas right now are already experiencing some pretty active weather, some strong to severe storms, some flooding ongoing. Well, we're going to break it all down for you in this video. If you guys have not subscribed, consider doing that. Definitely like the video if you like it. Hit me up on social media over there. It's a great way to interact with what I do here. And also what I'm bringing forward. If you guys got anything that I can pray about, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. So let's get rolling this morning. Water vapor loop shows the high pressure right here spinning away. Pieces of energy flying around basically the upper portion and the base of this high pressure. So you basically got pieces of energy that come up with the jet stream. It buckles to the north, and then it comes back down very slowly. And this is what we call a northwest flow, because the energy comes in from the west, then begins to kind of sink southeast from the northwest. And then you have rounds of strong to severe storms that go over the same areas, which also create a flooding risk. So the brighter colors you see on your screen is actually ongoing convection, showers and storms. When I say convection, or either it's ongoing showers and storms that are starting to slowly dwindle away with the loss of heat from yesterday, and then they will refire up today. So we will see what's going to happen here. This will be a hot area right here for some strong to severe storms today. Also, Montana is under the gun. So what's going to happen? Here you go. Storm Prediction Center has a slight risk stretching from the southern portions of the Ohio Valley through, I would say, 60-70% of Kentucky, through areas of West Virginia, pretty much the entire state of North Carolina, the entire northern half of South Carolina, a very small area of northeast Georgia, and pretty much the entire eastern half of areas in Tennessee. So Virginia also. So there is a slight risk. That is a level 2 out of 5. That's not, I know you're thinking that's not a big deal, but typically this time of the year, really anywhere this time of the year, but especially the further south you go, you don't typically see anything above a slight, unless you just get some wacky scenario where you have a tropical system that promotes a big tornado threat, or just some kind of just a weird setup, uncommon setup for this time of the year. But you also have that marginal risk, which covers a lot of ground, a lot of people, a lot of miles. So you guys can see severe weather in this marginal risk also today. And the severe chances are here in Montana with a slight risk up. So let's talk about this really quick. This is watches and warnings. We still have these heat advisories in place in the orange. These are actually starting to expand a little bit more in areas of the Carolinas, Southeast Virginia. And it's almost connecting here in South Carolina. Here in my neck of the woods, here in the Midlands of South Carolina, the criteria to issue a heat advisory is much higher than other areas, just due to the fact that we're just so accustomed to very hot temperatures around here. We sit in the bowl between the mountains and the ocean, and you really need temperatures to consistently, for a few hours, get over 110 degrees as far as that heat index, and we're just not fully confident that that's going to happen in these areas in the Midlands today, but it's going to be baking in the southeast today, even areas where you're not under a heat advisory. Excessive heat warnings. This includes big cities like Nashville, Memphis, Columbia, Missouri, trying to think of all the names, but the entire Quad States regions are certainly going to have excessive heat warnings today. Then you got some flood watches up and some flood warnings ongoing, and some flash flood warnings, flood watches up for also areas of Maryland. So we need to watch out today for sure. And then here's that flooding risk. You got the slight risk. That means at least a 15% chance of flash flooding guidance being met for this area, and that just pretty much depends on how much rain you have seen lately. So, when you factor all that in together, have you seen a ton of rain lately? So that means that if you get a lot of heavy rain again, then flooding is going to occur probably much easier. So, in general, even areas in this marginal risk, that means at least a 5% chance, and that's in the green area, of seeing flash flood guidance being met in 25 miles in a given location. You guys can still see flash flooding today. So that'll be kind of a threat that's not talked about as much, but these storms just keep going over the same area. So let's break it down. We're going to take a look at the 8RRR model We're going to compare and contrast a couple things right here at the beginning with the NAM and the HRRR model. Try to figure out what's going to happen today. So first off, I want to mention, I'll stop this here. This is for, well, let's go on and bring it about right here. So first off, this is right around now. This is what the HRRR model is trying to say is right here, right now in southeast Ohio, areas of West Virginia. You compare that with the NAM around the same time period, and both of them are doing pretty well. And you compare that with real-time radar imaging, and this is what you got. So it's doing a pretty decent job. I mean, that's about as good as you're going to get, right? The models aren't going to be perfectionists or anything like that, but it's doing a good job with initiating the convection that's actually occurring, in real life, with some showers and storms in southeast Ohio and moving into West Virginia and western Maryland. So it's doing a good job initiating. So we can go back and forth with the NAM and the HRRR model, but we're going to stick with the HRRR model with this video. So going through in time, let's focus on Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky first, and then we'll move a little bit further southeast to the Carolinas, Virginia, places like that. So we're getting later in the morning hours. We're getting into around lunchtime. This is around 11 a.m., 12. This is Eastern time. So if you know military time, then 12 is noon Eastern time. But here in the Ohio Valley, this is 1 hour behind, so it's 11 a.m. Central time. So just kind of subtract an hour. Here we go, here and there. And, I know I sometimes get some construction criticism about mentioning the time frame. It's hard sometimes, guys. It really is. But I'm going to try to continue to get better doing it because I know that's important. But moving through in time, we're getting into the early afternoon hours. This is what we're watching, maybe a storm or two well east of Indianapolis. Watch out, Columbus, Missouri. Columbus, Missouri. That's Columbia, Missouri. Columbus, Ohio. Watch out. Maybe a strong, severe storm around your area. Cleveland, not really showing much action, but this is more showers and storms developing around 1, 2 p.m. behind what's already kind of drifted southeast from the morning convection. So watch you're down here in southern areas of Ohio, maybe just east of Lexington, Kentucky. Watch out, Charleston, West Virginia. This will continue. And this is what we worry about. This is as we're getting to around 3, 4 p.m. in the afternoon. This turning into kind of a Boeing line of storms. And this then becomes a damaging wind threat, which I didn't show in the Storm Prediction Center. I've been terrible about that lately, about showing you the actual risk. But in general, the biggest risk, with the slight risk today across the mid-Atlantic, is damaging winds. And really, that is by far the biggest risk. But there is a chance for an isolated tornado. But as we're getting going through to the afternoon hours, a little bit later in the afternoon, we're getting now into about the 4 to 5 p.m. range. Here comes these storms starting to enter Virginia. Stormy afternoon in eastern areas of Kentucky. Another cluster of storms trying to form per the HRRR model south of Columbus, Ohio. This might move through areas like Cincinnati around 3, 4, 5 p.m. Watch out. And then this moves through, and this continues to sink southeast and make its way into West Virginia and Kentucky. So by the time you're done with this, you've had about 3 or 4 rounds of showers and storms if this was to play out. And then after that, it probably gets quiet through the evening hours as we're starting to get to about 10, 11 p.m. Settles down, but you already got some more rounds of showers and storms start to enter Illinois from the west. So let's go on and move. This is what the NAM shows. Let's show this too. The NAM, kind of a similar deal, but it gets much different as you get into the afternoon hours. The NAM wants to show an all-out line of storms sinking due south, so the directional flow in general is a tad off and a tad different. If this was to happen, then NAM would have a pretty strong to severe line of storms that works its way southward through Cincinnati, southern Illinois. This will slam Louisville, Kentucky, get into Lexington. So this will bring a more widespread threat for more of Kentucky. That's why the slight risk is extended out. This brings a line of storms almost through the entire state of Kentucky as you're getting into the evening hours at this point, around dinner time, and then this weakens and dwindles away as it enters, Tennessee. So it's different in the HRRR model. It really is. Right now, they're green, but later on, they're not. HRRR model for this, we're getting this into the later in the morning hours. We're starting to get into about mid-morning. Pretty quiet across West Virginia, Maryland, the Delmarva area, North Carolina. But then as we are getting into the afternoon hours, we're getting into about 3, 4 p.m. these big storms start to develop. And this won't be the only piece of energy of storms, guys. There will be more convection that fires up well ahead of this main kind of cluster. And who knows if this will even be the main cluster. Will there be a main cluster here in northern VA? This shows Charlottesville getting hit hard by the storms by early to mid this afternoon. You already got pop-up showers and storms down here in the Piedmont of North Carolina. And this is all due to the fact that it's heating up so intensely, very intense in these regions. I'm talking about 80s and 90s by the time you're even getting before lunchtime today. And then by the time you get to the afternoon hours, this region of the country, the southeast and mid-Atlantic, Richmond, will be well into the 90s. I mean, it will feel awful outside. You'll be begging for it to rain. But this continues. At this point, you're getting into about 7, 8 p.m., and this is when you watch for the activity to really pick up with a main piece of energy that might swing through. And then we have to see what happens in North Carolina. Yesterday morning, the models did not do a great job picking up on a line of storms that literally worked its way through the entire Carolinas last night. It hit my house just before midnight last night, and I was not expecting any rain. I really was not. I didn't think we'd get hit yesterday. Ended up getting even more rain, about a quarter inch of rain. So what this does a little bit later tonight in North Carolina is a big question. Models do not agree on the storm coverage for North Carolina, for example. But we move a little bit further southeast into South Carolina, and in general, not a whole lot showing up, but you have that slight risk. And that is because, there's just some big differences here. And let's take a look at the NAM for the same area. And here it goes. The NAM is totally different. It has storms working in from the northwest, getting into the upstate of South Carolina, and the NAM shows much more activity in the Carolinas than the HRRR model does. So it just goes to show you that there's a lot of disagreement here. There really is, and it's hard to figure out who you want to pick and choose in this battle. But, I would lean a little bit towards the NAM just because it seems like the more aggressive scenarios have been playing out. For example, last night with the line of storms that worked in from the north here in the Carolinas, most models were not picking up on that, but it happened anyways. But watch out if you're vacationing in the Outer Banks. This could rock your early morning hours for Thursday and could definitely pack a punch. And this is all really being driven by a very moist atmosphere. You got dew points well into the low to mid 70s. In fact, the dew points might verify higher into Virginia. In fact, I think they will. I think dew points will be well into the 70s, widespread in Virginia today. So very moist atmosphere, and not just a moist atmosphere, but the heating, the actual surface temperatures will be nasty out here. It'll just feel downright tropical, and you just really will want to avoid being outside. Thoughts and prayers certainly out for the people who have to work outside or in warehouses that aren't aren't insulated, things like that, which most are not. I've worked in a lot of warehouses in my life. Well, 2 or 3 that I've had big jobs at, and I tell you, none of them have been AC'd. Most of them aren't. It costs a lot of money to get them big warehouses insulated and things like that. But anyways, in response to these big dew points, you're going to have a lot of storm energy. The Cape levels will be in the couple thousands here, so a lot of energy to work with. Rain today between now and Thursday morning. Certain areas are going to pick up, anywhere from a quarter inch to as much as 2 to 3 inches. It just depends on where these showers and storms go over the same areas, and they will go over the same areas. But it's really liking the idea of maybe Kentucky, Ohio, picking up more rain today and being in threat for a flash flooding risk. But the rest of the southeast today, Florida, just your typical scattered downpours. This just happens every day almost in the summer. Even if there's just a 20% chance of rain in Florida, you might as well say there's a 50% chance. You guys know that all too well down there in Florida. And then more tropical downpours in southern Louisiana. You guys had flash flooding in certain areas down there yesterday. So just be careful. But the closer you get directly under the influence of this high pressure, the less likely you're going to see rain. With when you're right under that high pressure, you have what you call sinking air. And sinking air does not promote any convection. You need rising air. I talked about that a little bit in hurricane season. But the Northeast, you had a system work through overnight for areas of Maine. It's going to dry out today and be a pretty nice day. You guys have been the real breadbasket winners. here in the country as far as summer. You guys have had a nice summer. There hasn't been really a transition to summer. I don't even know what y'all's hottest month normally is. And for example, in New England, maybe. I feel like maybe it's July or August, but it seems like y'all's summer is much shorter up there with continuous blast of dry air that just makes it feel a little bit more comfortable and bearable. But watch out, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia. I haven't mentioned y'all much. There's going to be a sharp boundary where there will be no storm action and then maybe isolated to widespread storm action. And that'll probably be set up shop probably north of Washington, D.C. So Washington, D.C., for example, Maryland, Delmarva area, some scattered showers and storms throughout the entire late morning hours to the afternoon, and then early in the evening is certainly possible. But the south central U.S., no rain expected for Texas unless you're in the panhandle of Texas where some isolated showers and storms could pop up. But, high pressure situated right here, flow rounding all bases of it. Maybe a strong storm or two in areas of northern Missouri. You're going to be hoping so. Maybe a complex of storms makes its way out of Missouri into Illinois. Watch out for that. That can be severe, strong to severe. Watch out if you're in this area of the country. And then some convection firing up a little bit later today and will work its way out of Colorado into areas of Kansas, Nebraska. This can be severe also, where you have a threat of severe weather. The north central U.S., pretty quiet, especially the further north you go. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, pretty quiet weather, but some strong severe storms will try to enter a little bit later overnight into the Dakotas. You guys have been very active in the western Dakotas. But for my folks in Montana, I know I'm 16 minutes in and just mentioned y'all, I don't think I have a ton of viewers, but I want to mention it. A flow continues to pump out from the south, the southwest, and you guys will have big convection. Watch out, Billings. Anybody in Montana, especially central to eastern Montana, can certainly be under the gun for some evolution of some discrete, then more of a linear flow of storms, damaging winds, large hail. Certainly a threat. This will move through, initiate in the early afternoon hours and work its way northeast. By the time it reaches the northeast parts of the state, the sun will be down and it'll be into the overnight hours. But watch out for severe storms out here. Temperature is going to be absolutely awful. Carolinas is going to heat up big time today. The southeast in general, moist flow, a lot of moist air building ahead of these complexes of storms. This will initiate and provide juice for the atmosphere. So actual air temperatures well into the upper 90s in the Carolinas, and then well into the hundreds in this area right here. The dew points won't be quite as bad out here, but it still will be very moist, very uncomfortable. Heat indices reaching well above 110 in areas. Very hot day. It just seems like a relentless summer in these same areas of the country, especially for you folks out further west of me. I feel bad for you guys. You guys have just been roasting alive all summer. Hopefully y'all get a break for the second half of summer. Let's hope so. But that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. I did not expect this to almost go 20 minutes. But stay safe out there. I want to mention, guys, I'm probably going to start taking some breaks in the evenings. There just isn't a whole lot to talk about right now in the evening videos. And I'll probably make a post about this later, but the evening videos have just not been getting a lot of views at all. And it still takes about 20 to 30 minutes to make those videos, and it just takes time, out my family and everything like that I can be spending with them. So if there's just not a ton to talk about that I'm already going to talk about the next morning, then I might just take a break a few nights a week, guys. So hope you guys understand. I know you will. But just a FYI on that, I might make a post on that a little bit later. But God bless all y'all. Y'all have a great hump day out there, and I'll potentially talk to you guys this evening.